Are you serious? Are you serious? Well, you're looking at Iran's President Hassan Rouhani. Now, there's headlines this morning that Iran is threatening a response to the new U.S. visa restrictions that has been imposed. According to reports, Iran will take reciprocal measures in response to any breach of this year's nuclear deal. The foreign ministry warned yesterday after Iran said that the new U.S. visa restrictions conveyed, and this new agreement that convened the historic agreement, Iran has started to restrict its nuclear program under the terms of the July 14th deal with 6 world powers, which includes the United States. And when the restrictions are completed, the international sanctions on Iran will be lifted. So Iran says we've begun imposing upon ourselves new nuclear restrictions. When we get them all in place, then you guys are going to lift the sanctions on our country. More sanctions than what's already been lifted, by the way. Now, decades of old mistrust between the Iranians and the Americans is as high as ever now, and each side has accused the other of undermining the pact, known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Now, earlier this month, the United States Congress passed a law restricting visa-free travel rights for people who have visited Iran or hold dual Iranian nationality, a measure that Iran's foreign minister called a breach of the deal. The measure, which affects citizens of the 38 mostly European countries that have visa waiver arrangements with the United States, is framed as a counterterrorism measure and also targets Iraq, Syria, and the Sudan. Any steps taken outside the agreement are unacceptable to Iran, according to the Iranian officials, and they're going to take their own steps, they say, in response where necessary, according to the foreign ministry spokesman, Hassan Ansari. He told a televised news conference when asked about the United States' new visa law. Now, you know, this law would never even the Congress would have never even passed a visa law restriction had Donald Trump not rose into a significant position in the presidential race and started talking about banning all Muslims that would be coming into this country through visa immigration policies. In other words, and it would be a temporary ban, but he's basically saying we have to fix the visa immigration policy. Well, now this bill that Congress passed did not do that. It did not fix the immigration visa policy. It just put some restrictions on people coming to America from any of the 38 European nations and nations like Iran, Syria, and the Sudan. This is why the Congress passed it, and this is why the president signed it, because this was the compromise. Obama said, sure, I can go along with little tougher visa restrictions on this, as long as you're not talking about a ban on Muslims in the immigration policies, then I'll go along with that, as long as you guys have passed my $1.1 trillion spending bill, which the Congress did in the middle of the night at 2:30 in the morning when America was sleeping, and the president signed it 10 minutes later and then went to Hawaii on vacation. Now, that's the kind of horse trading that's going on in Washington, D.C., and that's what the establishment does. They could care less what the people feel and what the people think. This whole Iranian 6 superpower deal with the Americans and the British and the French and the Germans and the Russians and the Chinese, 6 world powers sitting at the table for months with the Iranians' radical Islamic regime led by an absolute radical eschatology of theology leader in the Ayatollah Ali Khomeini. The man you're looking at there, of course, is Hassan Rouhani. He's the president puppet. Everybody answers to the Ayatollah. And so this visa law is really not worth much, the paper it's written on, to be honest. But Iran says it has nothing to do with the recent attacks and the fighting. Yeah. Iran, you are the largest sponsor of terrorism in the world. You don't have nothing to do with that. I have nothing to do with the attacks. I have nothing to do. It's the Iranians that supply the Houthi rebels that are right now attacking Saudi Arabia. It is the Iranians who completely fund the Hamas in Gaza, who fire rockets constantly at the Israelis. It's the Iranians who are completely funding and still trying to smuggle weapons through Syria from Damascus to southern Lebanon to Hezbollah. And it's the Iranians who have called for the complete annihilation of Israel. Yet they haven't got anything to do with what's happening. Folks, it's getting uglier by the minute. Iran's hardline Revolutionary Guards have also been pushing the boundaries of the deal, most notably by test firing ballistic missiles, which is a total violation to the deal. Remember that? They've already test fired 2 ballistic missiles that have the capability of carrying nuclear warheads. Right now, Iran is much more dangerous, folks, to the United States, to the Middle East, to Israel, than North Korea's little dictator, Kim Jong-un. Because Kim Jong-un, though he has warheads, don't know how to get them off the ground. Doesn't have the capability yet. Iran knows how to get them off the ground. They can shoot missiles precisely. They just don't have the warheads yet. And even though there is reports they've got 3, and they've probably got more like a dozen. And when they get their sanctions lifted, they can just go buy the warheads they need from the Russians. So it's becoming more and more and more dangerous, if you want to know, and this is why we are racing in biblical prophecy. It's why you're staring at Psalms 83, and you can see and feel the Mideast madness continuing. I'm going to continue to keep a close eye on what's going on. I'm letting you know what these events mean in biblical prophecy. Well, in biblical prophecy, Iran plays a major role. In Ezekiel 38 and 39, it's Persia, who is one of the 5 empires that joined forces to come against Israel in a massive battle called Gog and Magog. In Psalms 83, it talks about a consortium of several nations building a confederacy to come against Israel. Iran will definitely be in the mix. They're the ones building the confederacy with these radical Islamic groups I just mentioned. Assad is close friends with the Iranians. And of course, Iran is close allies with the Russians. So there's a lot going on here, folks. We're just going to keep a close eye on all of it as we get closer and closer to World War III. Are you saved? Give your life to Jesus Christ. Don't be left behind, because this world is going to blow sky high.